All right.
All right, we're back for episode 35 of the Idiot Circle. Wow, 35, that's a lot.
That's
I'm
crazy.
Mike.
I'm Fred. I'm Rob.
Yeah, Rob couldn't join us. We booted him out this week and told him we couldn't go on because we're just sick of all of this shit. But anyway,
Yeah, he's polishing some girl's knife collection in their basement.
he's polishing something, definitely.
Yeah.
So you know what happens when
Oof.
when somebody doesn't show up, they get ripped on the whole show. So Rob
Yeah.
will watch this hopefully and see what we do to him. So why don't you introduce our special guest, Fred?
Our special guest is a local musician and one of the young musicians that are in our area. And it's Branden Pavlov. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Not a problem.
I
So
see you got
Brand,
some sound treatment behind you.
that's what I was going to ask him. You beat me to it, Mike. Good job. Go ahead.
What's that all about? You
You're
just at
asking
your
about
studio?
Yeah, the walls back here. So this is actually our conference room at work. I'm at our
Oh,
office.
really?
So when
Oh,
I
wow.
first got hired in here too, I was thinking the same thing. I'm walking in here and I'm like, I've recorded, a couple songs. I'm like, this looks pretty familiar. And they did it back in the day to like soundproof it. So yeah, I figured, yeah, we'll come in here and at least look like I'm in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does it work pretty good?
It works pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys have seen it in studios too. Some people even use them in practice rooms and things like that, but
All right.
it gets the job done and it kind of looks like a studio.
Yeah, well, Brandon, it muffs all the screams when your boss grabs a hold of you, right?
Yeah, when I screw up, I just go, yeah, he brings me in here and then I come out, man, nothing happened.
Yep. So, hey, Brandon, hey, we really appreciate you coming on. I know you have a pretty big following, and I know that we'll get this show to your link so you can send it out for people to watch, and we'll get it out as well out on YouTube as well as Facebook. But why don't you just kind of give us a little background? Where you're from, how did you get into music, and what you've been doing over the past couple years with your music.
Sure. So born and raised in St. Clair. That's where I got my start. Graduated high school in 2015. Then went on to Michigan State, and then obviously came back here, where I work full time as a financial advisor, and then moving on to the music. So I started doing that when I was probably 8 or 9 years old. Took guitar lessons up in Port Huron.
And so you were a late starter then.
A late starter, yeah.
Yeah.
According to my dad, I'm still late.
Okay.
But a lot of that came from my dad because he had a band back in the late 80s and 90s. And then he ended up having to stop when obviously he started a family. So when I came around, it was always music. So I'm the oldest of 3. So I would go to some of his shows while he was still in the business. And then from there, it was just every truck ride, every night at home, it was just music. So that's where a lot of the, I guess, inspiration to start came from. Was him. So he would take me to the guitar lessons. And I think as every teenager does when they're first learning, that you hit that point where it's just like, this is boring and I suck, which I hit the same thing. And I also really enjoyed sports. So it kind of went on the back burner for a while. And it really started to take a turn, I think, at the end of high school. So once that switch flips and all of a sudden, there's no more football, there's no more basketball, there's no more baseball. It kind of turned into, well, what am I going to do now? And that's really where I started to transition more on the path of music and kind of bettering myself there. So, and of course, when, going through COVID and all that, all the musicians around here lost a couple of years. But that's really where it all came from. It kind of all roots back to my dad doing it, and then kind of continuing to motivate me to get into it, and I just kind of took the reins and ran with it.
Now it sounds like you started out as a hobby, but now, I mean, you're playing everywhere. So it's, you're making some decent money doing it now too.
Yeah, it has turned into that. And I didn't expect it. So coming out of COVID, I think, the other guys you've had on the show would probably say the same thing. I didn't know where it was going because I think it hit every business differently in terms of, do they even have the funds to have bands in there? But St. Clair, and you guys have talked about it on your show, they've been doing a lot, in terms of music, and then Port Huron caught on. So there are a lot of opportunities out there, and I just don't want to turn them down. I enjoy doing it. It's fun. And there's constantly people coming like, can you fill this slot? You want to do this? And it's like, what the heck? Why would I say no after missing 2 years?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's totally, and again, the one thing I know is Port Huron, when they started the Rock and the Rivers and started and got McMorrin back into place and started opening up some of the local spots like all around town where musicians are playing in local like little hot spots. I know Jeff Bohm really kind of embraced that. Obviously, he had talked to my ex-wife Nancy, and kind of built off of the Rock and the Rivers and saw that St. Clair has that opportunity. Now, the biggest thing is he's not only got that going big, but he's also brought in a lot of people who love playing the music and have the opportunity to do it. And he made it where he had 184 different shows going on during the summer this year. The next step will be, what will Marine City do and what will Elginak do, so this whole area can really just be nothing but a musician haven, so to speak. And in your case, Branden, most of the bands that are out playing right now are our age, older than you, and you've been trying to get think about doing band stuff and things of that sort. But it seems like a lot of the kids your age are doing solo gigs because they can't find people to get together and commit, so to speak. So why don't you talk a little bit about that and what you thought? Because I know you mentioned it when you saw the John Jansen show. You had messaged me and brought that up. So give you a chance to kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, and it's a good question, and I can relate to it just because I went the same route as a lot of those guys, like John Jansen. I'm sure everyone from Paul Shunk to the Ottenbacher brothers, they were all playing in bands as teenagers, as high school kids. And I was thankful enough to be a part of one with 3 of my good buddies in high school. And we had a good run. And then, like you said, once everyone hits that next phase of life, whether you go away to college or not, that commitment level becomes tougher. And it's, you can't really hold it against anyone, but our band deteriorated, instantly. And then it broke down to 2 guys. And then all of a sudden I just went off on my own. So I understand what you're saying. And I think it is tough, because if I were to go out there now and try to find like those same 3 guys, like guys that are my age, that are interested in the same kind of music and can also commit to that, putting in the time for the practice, playing the shows, it'd be tough. And I'm not, being negative towards anyone, but I've, even looked at myself in the past couple of years, thinking, is there anyone out there that I could possibly link up with? And I just can't seem to link, 1 to 2 to 3 to where this is where I'm going. It's crazy, and it's sad to see. I wish we had more young people out there, even in terms of young bands, because I'm not going to compete with a Los Gringos or a Gobies. Like, it's a totally different style. They're kicking with 4 or 5 piece, a 4 or 5 piece band, and then I'm just up here alone. So it stinks, and I really don't know the answer to the question, to be honest with you. But it's sad to see. I wish it was different.
But by the same token, playing as a solo act, you get some opportunities that like Los Gringos or Paul Shunk Paul plays when he plays solo, but you get to play some places that it's not practical for like Los Gringos to play at, or the Gobies or whatever, just because the venues are maybe smaller or more intimate. You have a lot of possibilities there too. So it's you're adapting to what's available to you. So that's it's commendable to do that, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I agree with you too, because I think that's another reason why my summer was as busy as it was. There's like you said, there's only so many places you can put the bigger bands, and you want them headlining. And for guys like me, it's like, well, do we need a guy from 5 to 7 before these guys go on? You can kind of put guys like me anywhere. So I think I'd credit that to another reason to why that summer was as busy as it was, because of low maintenance, just one guy and his guitar. You can kind of stick them anywhere if you're looking for a couple hours of music.
Yeah, have guitar will travel is your motto, I guess.
That's right.
Put that right on the Facebook page.
There you go.
Well, Branden, you always have that option where you could find some older people to join a band and get together.
Nice.
We're gonna segue into that one.
Nice segue there, Freddie.
Cheers.
What are you drinking there? You had a Miller High Life a minute ago. What do you got now?
Starting out with the Bush
latte.
Latte.
Of course.
Yep.
He can't get away from it. He just
I can't. It's just too inexpensive. But Brandon, you said, like you said, your dad was in a band, played locally. And your situation and my situation are very similar because my mom was the minister of music at our church, from the age of 11 until she passed away. And we always had music playing in the house, regardless if it was her practicing for church, if it was Peter Frampton, Queen, Styx, um, Dionne Warwick, Barry Manilow, whatever it was. I think that's where, someone like yourself and even Mike and myself too, we're so eclectic when it comes to our taste in music. And I think that's where it bodes well because, the one thing that, the three of us have talked about, off air is trying to, to put a band together that doesn't always play the same songs that everybody else does. And and that's always kind of tough because you don't want to, miss out because people want to hear some of those songs. But after a while, when you have, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you have three bands and they're all playing the same songs, it's like now you're just saying, okay, who plays them better?
Yeah.
So in that mindset, coming into what we've been talking about over the past couple months is just trying to figure out, what songs what we'd like to do and where it's going to fit in nicely. So, talk about a little bit about your dad's influences and what music that he got you into.
So my dad was a lot of that, a lot of old rock. And I shouldn't say that because he kind of jumped around the board as well. But when I was a kid, Seeger was the big one that I remember with my dad. And my dad kind of had that gravelly voice. So he was, he could sing like him too. So it was Seeger, but it was also, he'd get me into Motown. So it was Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Elvis was in there. Billy Joel was another big one. And he's still in my top two today. So a lot of that oldie stuff, and that's what his band did too. That was 50s, 60s, and 70s was kind of the eras that they skipped in between. But that's, coming up through the ranks when we started, my buddies all grew up on the same type of music. So it was easy for us to pick these songs because I'd heard them for 10 or 12 years in my dad's truck and I'd learned them and actually enjoyed them, and they kind of felt the same way. But I think it also broadened my horizons because, like you said, being younger, I think there are quite a few in my generation who not necessarily don't appreciate, but they're just they didn't grow up on that music. So if you throw out guys like Jim Croce and Van Morrison, they're just going to kind of give you a little head tilt and like pass it by. But I was kind of brought up, and I'm happy I was because it's great stuff, but it also helps me when I'm out there learn a lot of newer songs if I need to, just because I can dig back into some of those old artists that I might have forgotten about, and kind of pull some of their songs and bring them to light. And it ties in because, like you said, you don't want to be doing the same things everyone else is doing, and you want to do something a little bit different that might get someone to kind of perk their head up and say, well, I haven't ever heard anyone do that one, or I haven't heard that song in 10 or 15 years. So that's usually what I'm shooting for when I'm, out there playing by myself.
Yeah, definitely. To hear a younger person play someone like Jim Croce or Van Morrison or something like that, that's unusual. So, you can cover a lot of ground with a lot of different people, and that's, I mean, obviously you're in it to entertain people, and in some of the places you play, you could have people that are 80 years old down to 18 years old, right? So you got to kind of find something that's everybody's gonna like. So yeah, it's a challenge, but I noticed some of the songs that you play are not songs that other people play. So that's pretty cool to hear. And that's and when I go to see a group, that's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in hearing the same songs that everybody else plays. It's nice. And Paul and Oates do that quite a bit. The Gobies do that. So I think that a lot of the bands, have that same mentality that they're trying to play stuff that people are they know of the song, they remember the song, but they don't hear it played live a lot. And so that's appealing to everybody. So the challenge is going to be, all these bands trying to do songs that nobody does, and they're still going to end up probably stepping on each other's toes as far as playing the same songs because they're trying to find something. So it's a crapshoot when you go to play a song, whether other people play it or not. You just got to play what you like and what you think people are going to enjoy. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, as an example, I mean, obviously, I'm unfortunate. I've always tried to pick up the guitar, and and I'd have teachers show me some stuff, and I'd start learning, and then all of a sudden they disappeared on me, and then I was like, did I do something wrong? And I just never really got into. I'm so ADD. It's hard for me to stay focused, on YouTube and trying to learn just a couple licks. But when I sit down with somebody that's going to show me, I can get the hand stuff down, and I can hear the music, and I can hear multiple different songs playing through. But same thing with karaoke, when I did karaoke when it was really huge, is I would always play to whoever was in the crowd. So if it was an older crowd, I'd stick with some, things from the 70s and 60s and sometimes the 50s. If it was a mixed crowd, I'd mix it up a little bit. If it's a younger crowd, I would probably try to stay anything from the 80s to something newer, and throw some newer country in and stuff like that. So that's kind of what, when Mike and I came to see you play in Mount Clemens, and and that's a tough gig for you when everybody's talking over you while you're playing.
Frustrating.
But it is frustrating. But the thing is that you've hit a chord when somebody walks up to you and throws a couple bucks in your jar and says, "Hey, I love the songs that you're in. Can you play this song?" And then you play it, and they're like all pumped up about it. So the thing, even though it's frustrating that people are talking over you singing, at least that you're hitting somebody out in the crowd that is actually paying attention and listening to you play.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I had that happen. I was at the inn, I think it was last week. And it was, I don't know, the inn's a different sort of place. Like, some people are there to enjoy themselves, and they're paying attention, but it's not always one of those spots where people are going to be turning their head and, applauding for you every song. But I had a lady come up to me just out of nowhere, and it was just I'm finishing up my first set, and she tells me, she just got married, and she asked me if I can play any Gordon Lightfoot. And I'm thinking, I got one song in the bag, and I asked her, and she had "If You Could Read My Mind" by Gordon Lightfoot. I'm like, thank the Lord, I got it. Pulled it out, did it. And it made her night. Messaged me on Facebook later and told me she enjoyed it, and thank you for playing the song. So like you said, even though, sometimes a solo guy might be background music, and you're sitting there like, shit, no one's even acknowledging that I'm here. If you get that one, or those one or two people that kind of perk their heads up and give you a head nod or acknowledge you, that's, like you said, it's more than words there. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah, you run into that whenever you play a gig in like a bar or whatever. Some, half the people are going to be listening, and others could care less. They're watching TV or just drinking or whatever.
Playing
But
Keno, something. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But if you're playing like St. Clair Plaza, people are there to watch you, so it's totally different. So yeah,
Right.
it's frustrating when you play 5-6 songs and you don't hear a peep out of anybody, but they just got to make it fun for yourself, So
Yeah.
at that
It's
point.
almost like playing golf. I mean, you can be frustrated, and you hit that one good shot, and it makes you come back. Same thing.
Turns things around.
Yeah, it turns things around a little bit. So, and noticing the playlists that of the songs that you play, Mike and I were commenting on it about, boy, this guy's got a plethora of songs to choose from, and all of them are like, we're all sitting there like, going, ooh, we like this one. I like that. Going through all those, and what's nice is there's some newer stuff, and there's some things like Mike said, funny, when we were pulling in the parking lot to see you play in Mount Clemens, Mike goes, I hope if we get this group together, that maybe we could play 3 a.m. by Matchbox 20. And as we're walking up, you started
That's what you're
playing.
playing.
I'm like, should put it on the list. There it is. Click,
Check her off.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's cool when you see some of the younger kids, like even Kevin Mon's a perfect example. When he was teaching in the high school, he'd see kids wearing the older t-shirts. You wouldn't see any like the Justin Bieber and all that other crap. They would see Led Zeppelin and Kiss and Black Sabbath and Metallica. And then when they had him in class, they would start talking music, and their ears would perk up because Kevin is not a savant, but a person who is has an eclectic mind as well. But I've never seen somebody know more words to songs than Kevin does. And so, I mean, I told him, I said, we should go on that Beat Shazam show. I said, I think we could clean up some money that way, but
clean house on that one.
Clean house. But it's nice to see, that there's kids out there that, maybe are not musically inclined or whatever, but they love music, and you can see that they have the same taste of music, and it always gives. It's one thing that it can bring people together as music does. Regardless of who you are, where you're from, or anything like that. That's why I know I'm sure you do, and I'm sure Mike does. Enjoy going to concerts to see certain bands or a group of bands to play, and just watching everybody just have a great time. So as far as your top five bands or singers, who would that be, Brandon?
Top five singers. That's a tough one.
Or bands.
Or
Or
bands.
bands.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or bands. You want me to go in order? Or can I just kind of rattle them off?
Any order.
Any
Just
order, that's fine.
random order. If you have a
I mean-
number one, by all means throw it out, but it's not a requirement.
Well, I mean, I got to put Bob Seger on the list. I got to throw Billy Joel on the list. I'd probably put Billy Joel either one or two. Trying to think down the line. I like me some Led Zeppelin, and again, that's stuff that me alone, and I'm not necessarily going to cover their stuff because I don't want to butcher that. But again, great band. Beatles are on there, and I'd probably put Elvis on there to round out the five there. So a lot of old school stuff, and especially after that Elvis movie came out, I don't know if either of you have seen that. I added 3-4 more Elvis tunes to my set, and it's just I wasn't around for what those guys were doing, but when you go back and you dig a little bit deeper and you learn about some of their paths, like really forging the way for where music is today, it's crazy stuff back in the day what those guys were doing.
Yeah, there's no hope for Fred. He's not an Elvis fan, so he was never a big Bob Seger fan either, though. But he's come around, so there's hope for him.
It took me a moment, and I think the reason why I wasn't a Bob Seger fan is because of the radio. They just kept playing the same songs, and you get sick of them. It's they need to have a radio station where they play songs that you would not normally hear on the radio, but you're never going to get that.
Well, Sirius XM has the deep tracks or deep cuts or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's channel 27. Not that I'm plugging Sirius XM. I don't have it, but I know they have a channel specifically like that. So,
but in my case, I mean, I started listening a little bit more deeper cuts of Bob Seger, and I just got a newfound appreciation for him, and I'm glad I did it early enough where I saw him play at Pine Knob just before before he stopped touring. So of course that doesn't mean he's not going to. That doesn't mean he's stopping touring, because obviously Kiss has had 12 farewell tours.
Yeah.
But there is some songs that Elvis does that I do like. It's just that, I think I just never got caught up in the hype. And of course the hype was more, it was even before I was born. So I didn't really get it. And the same thing with the Beatles. I mean, there's Beatles songs that I like. I just didn't get into the hype of it, but there's songs that I like that you would never hear on the radio, or if you did, it's once every 2 years you might hear something. But and you know, and of course, and I know there's people that don't like the stuff that I listen to, and I'm sure the same thing with you, and same thing with Mike. So, but the thing is performing it and enjoying and performing it and doing it well, and have people come up to you and going, man, that was awesome.
Mhm.
I don't think I don't know if there's a better feeling.
No, I agree with you on that one. And when I'm doing, bands like the Beatles or Seeger or Elvis, I'm not necessarily trying to sound exactly like them. I'm not going to put on that, little Southern twang that Elvis had and try to do it. I'm doing the Branden Pavlov version. So I'm not, in a sense, trying to copy them. But that's what I try to do with a lot of the songs that I play, is just put your own little spin on it. Don't take it too far right or too far left. But don't exactly copy them. But like you said, yeah, doing it because you appreciate the song, you like how your voice fits, or you enjoy, playing it. That's really all that matters. And I think a lot of the musicians you've had on the show, they'd say the same thing. I mean, we all do it because we enjoy it, and a lot of those songs that you're playing, they mean something to you.
Right.
That's a good strategy to put your own spin on it, because then you kind of have a voice, so to speak, or a style, and eventually people will go to see your style because they like the way you do certain songs, so that's pretty cool. Like, some of my favorite songs are when people do like cover versions that are not the same, or they do like an acoustic. I like that. I'm not to plug Sirius XM, but they have like the coffee house or whatever I think they call it, where
Yeah.
they do acoustic versions of some of the popular hits, and they're pretty cool. Or what is that one? I'm trying to think of that band. They're like a jazz band. They do a bunch of YouTube videos. God damn it, I wish I could remember the name of the group, but they do like jazz versions of popular songs, which is pretty cool as well. Postmodern Jukebox is the name. I don't know if you ever seen
Oh,
them
I've heard the
on
name.
YouTube. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So they definitely put their own spin. They completely change the song. They have the melody and the stuff, but they might do it in a different key, and they're playing it on piano as an upright bass and stuff like that. When it's like a rock tune, they might do like a Radiohead tune, jazz style. That's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely putting your own spin on it is cool. When people try to copy it exactly, it just doesn't sound genuine. You can tell they're I call it trying too hard, to sound like them. So it's pretty cool when you hear a different version of a song that you're familiar with. So
No, I agree with you.
So you're a Spartan fan. We have to, I mean, it doesn't have to all be about music.
Right.
We can talk some sports. I'm
All
ready.
right, cool. So Spartans looking good. Last week they rolled up the score. Was it 56-0 or something like that? Or
yeah. And
something
who
in
did
the
they play?
50s. They played Akron.
Akron. Yeah.
Hey, it's a MAC school. It's not playing,
Well,
like Alabama plays.
I guess Akron would beat Hawaii. So
yeah, I'm sure they would. Yeah, I
think Croslex could beat Hawaii.
Hey, Marine City might be able to beat Hawaii, for crying out loud. Who knows? But it'd be tough.
That was bad.
But I mean, MAC schools are some of the MAC schools are pretty good. Central's pretty good. Western gave Michigan State all they could handle. So
that was tougher than I thought it was going to be. That game one against Western, yeah.
Who do they got this week? Who does State play this week?
We're going to Washington on the road, which that one's going to be.
Ooh.
That one's going to be tough. I mean, like I said, we've looked okay. I mean, we beat the Western. Obviously, I was worried a little bit there, but that's going to be a test. It's not a cupcake walk. I mean, going on the road out there, we'll see what we're made of.
Yeah. I don't know how good Washington is. I don't think they're going to be any better than they were last year. And if Mel Tucker has them prepared, I don't think they can roll them, but I think that they might be able to beat them by 10 points. But to go out, anytime you get in on an airplane and drive and fly over to the West Coast,
it's tough.
It's tough because you got to deal with Pac-12 officials, which we know how that goes especially in the Rose Bowl, and then flying over there and the time. It's the time change isn't that big of a deal, but the thing is just getting acclimated, being over there, and you know, the weather in Washington is never nice.
Probably gonna rain. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's typical. It's going to rain at some point, either before or during the game. Hopefully, we don't have any weather delays like we did last week. Geez, I mean, that took forever to get that Michigan game done. But
How long did you guys get delayed? I was checking the score and I saw
I
it
don't, I
delayed.
don't think they kicked off until like 5 after 9.
Yeah, so
Wasn't that
it was an
soft,
hour.
like
It was
8?
an hour. I think it was an 8 o'clock
hour?
start. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
an hour. So
and actually Eastern was had all the momentum down against the Raging Cajuns down there in Louisiana, and they had to stop the game and kind of lost some momentum. But the thing is they gave them everything. So I always tell people that the MAC is probably the most underrated and the scariest uh, league
conference.
conference to play against, because of the fact that, you know, even though that we're playing a MAC school, those schools, I don't care if it's Ball State, I don't care if it's Toledo, if it's Eastern, Western, Central, Buffalo, some of those schools like that or Miami of Ohio, they're going to give you a game. They're not going to just sit there and let you walk right over.
Well, Oklahoma State found that out when Central gave them all they could handle.
Yeah, in 2000. Well, not only that, but in 2016, they beat them.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma State. So the thing is that's what's great, because I'm sure, Brandon, you probably felt the same way. As soon as you knew that the first week of college football and then all of a sudden the NFL started on Sunday, it was like everybody just sat down, just took a big sigh of relief that finally we don't have to worry about watching the Tigers, and now we can start worrying about watching the Lions and
go from one losing team to another.
So
how was the student section at Michigan State when you were there, Brandon?
Oh, it was a blast. It was a blast. And so I was in college kind of after the big run when we had trying to think, what did we do before I was in there? Like the Rose Bowl, when we were ranked, when college football playoff and got stomped there. But I came in after that. So I was in like I think that brief end when they were alternating a couple quarterbacks. So we weren't amazing, but it was a blast out there. I mean, if you can make it through the party phase before the game and get to the stadium, which I'm a football nerd, so that was always on my mind, was getting to the game and watching.
Right.
It was a blast. I mean, I miss it. I was out in East Lansing for the Western game. I didn't go to the game, but we were out there just watching at a bar, and it's like, damn, I've been out, 4 years now, and I still miss it.
I would say probably tailgating wise, I've been to both. I had season tickets at Michigan for a while, and my oldest daughter went to Michigan State. I would say that Michigan State, from a tailgate perspective, they go balls out, man. They really do. It's like Michigan is is a lot calmer than Michigan State. It's definitely a party atmosphere at MSU for the football games.
They don't play around out there. Even, with Akron, I had friends that went out and tailgated there all day. I mean, brought their TVs. They, just bail out all over campus. It doesn't matter who we're playing. I mean, those people show up, park the cars, pitch the tent, put the TV up, and it's an all day deal.
Nice. And they can put them away. They can drink those Spartans. I would think the Spartan drinking team could trounce the Michigan drinking team. I'm confident.
Bet some money on that one. Yeah, I've had some experience and seen some things out there. Yeah, we can hold our own.
I mean, it'd be a nice matchup to see Michigan Tech versus MSU, and because there's nothing to do but drink and study up there, and I've seen them in action, and as well as Central.
I was going to say Central's got to be up there too, right?
Oh yeah. So, and the thing is, I know that we're not in the the biggest party state in the country, because I know Wisconsin's the most drunk. So I mean, it's just it's a shit show over there. But the thing is, you get into some of those areas like Arizona State and USC and UCLA, and you get down into the Florida schools, and you get down there, and it's just Ole Miss and Georgia. It's just,
I imagine like the SEC are pretty wild too.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
So I
Totally
have
different
to,
ballgame, I'm sure.
I have to ask you, you're a Michigan State alum. What do you think about the state uniforms with the big fluorescent green state
Hate
on
'em.
them? Okay,
Hate 'em.
all right. We're not alone because we're like, holy shit, those things are god
Oh,
awful.
I
Oh,
think I think I was in my senior year when they whipped those bad boys out, I think. And all my friends were fans as well. I had a few of them that went to state with me, and I'm getting all these texts. What the hell is going on? I'm looking at these neon, just big old I'm like, oh, I liked the bat. I forget when it was, maybe 2012, 2013, the old school Spartan with the black and the gray. I'm like, go back to that. Don't go to this neon.
Yeah.
what they need to do is go back to the white helmet with the old angry Spartan on the side, like they
Yeah,
wore
the
last
kind of
year.
cartoonish face Spartan. Yeah,
That
that's
is
cool.
by far the best helmet. And all the other Spartans that they have, it looks like the Trojans one from on the condom box. I'm sorry.
Not wrong.
Yeah, I'm
When
sorry. I mean, you want to be a safe fan, that's fine. But
that one year they
yeah.
played Michigan, they had what do they call them? The Nike Pro Combat uniforms, where they had a dark green helmet. It was kind of like a matte finish with
matte finish.
the Spartan, the regular Spartan logo on it. Those were badass uniforms, man. When they came out with those against Michigan, I thought they were awesome. So, but yeah,
Not the
I
neon,
like.
though.
No, the neon's got to go. I mean, it's too much. It's too Oregon Ducky, you know. I mean,
Oh,
those
God.
guys are fucking nuts
Yeah,
with that
just-
shit.
Yeah.
Oof, oof.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff like that. I like the white helmets from last year when they played was it where Brooke Zappi played? Was it Western Kentucky? Yeah, it was
Oh
Western
yeah,
Kentucky.
Western Kentucky. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
and
was
they had
early in the season, right? When they
yeah,
wore
I think it
those?
was like
Yeah.
the second game of the year, and they had the white helmets with the old angry cartoonish. And I'm like,
Did they have a
don't-
white face mask too? Didn't they?
I
Or
think so.
yeah, that
But
was a cool look.
it was a badass helmet. I'm like,
Mhm.
there's your helmet. Don't ever go away from that.
Even
Yeah.
break those out for like 2-3 games. Put the neon away and just wear those a couple
I
times.
should
after.
never wear the neon.
The neon needs to die. I mean, it needs to die
Fast.
a quick death.
Yeah, not a slow death, but a quick one.
Listen to us talking about uniform colors and stuff. You know, that's
Yes.
that's for the ladies that watch our show.
Yeah.
We're bitching about colors now. I mean,
Yes.
it's really degenerated into nothing.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so funny. Now, Brandon, have you been into any high school games this year?
I have not. And I'm trying to think if I've even kept up on some of the scores. I don't know what St. Clair's record is right now. I know Marine City beat them. It was like 33-8.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, they're going to struggle, but the thing is, they do have some athletes on that team, and like when you played, you guys had some pretty good athletes on the team as well.
Yeah.
So, eventually it's going to come to the point where both schools are going to have to combine. I don't know if you're the type of person that is for that or against it. But in my opinion, what solves that problem is winning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you combine both the schools and you bring those athletes in
Oh
with
shit! Good night.
Yeah.
Those two schools, honestly.
Yeah.
Good night. There's a lot of athletes in both cities for sure.
Mhm.
So that would be pretty cool. I have no issue with it. I know some people feel pretty strongly about it, but I think it would be a good move, especially from a sports program, or really from any program, even the arts, music. I don't say the Performing Arts Center is awesome. That's shared between the two schools. So I don't see really any downside. I mean, I don't know people complaining what the downside would be, but be pretty cool to see, I think.
Combined, yeah, that'd certainly be different. I mean, I'm sure since we've all been in school, it's always been the rival. I think of teaming up. I mean, back when we were there, they were a juggernaut, and we had a pretty good team as well. So you think of putting them. I mean, how would you even pick 11? I don't even know how they would. If we combined, how they'd find 11 guys to. Our second string would be probably just as good as the first if you combined our team with theirs back when we were going, because I think they won the state title, and we were field goal away from going to Ford Field ourselves. So
Yeah, that's right.
Your
Your kicker got kicked off the team for being a dumbass.
Go to DeWitt and play in a blizzard. I remember that one. And then,
Oh yeah.
But that was, I don't know if that class, I mean, if St. Clair stays St. Clair, I don't think you'll ever have an athletic class like that class, which was the year before me, that 2014 class that's the reason why that football team was so good. I mean, there were athletes all over the field in terms of that class, but putting them together, I couldn't even imagine if that would have been our class.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing then is, okay, what's the name of the school going to be and what's their nickname going to be?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
you'd have to pick something totally different, right?
It would probably have to be East China.
East China something. Yeah.
I said that I always thought the Chargers would have been a good name, and go with the blue with the orange letters, with a white helmet with a orange, kind of like for DTE and for the Detroit Edison type thing. I always thought about something like that, but
you put a lot of thought into this, Fred.
I was gonna say Fred's already brainstorming this whole thing.
Well, hey, if I'm the press box announcer, I gotta have some say.
Yeah. You're probably not gonna have any.
No.
Yeah, you'd have to have two press box announcers. How would that work? You'd have to combine. I don't know. There's not room for two Freds in the booth. That's
there'll be just one. I can handle that.
Okay.
I got this.
All right.
Yep. I even spoke to Dave Maru, who's the new high school principal. I said, hey, if you ever in a bind and you need someone to announce the St. Clair football games and you don't have somebody, let me know. I'll be more than happy to do it.
He's trying to take over. See, he's planting the seed already. He's trying to take over.
Hey,
he's trying to take this whole East
Hey,
China.
I'm just trying to be Switzerland here, man.
He's taking the sports market in East China. It's blowing up, man. Jesus Christ. Just can't get enough, man.
I know.
He's got this podcast or the YouTube channel or how you call it. He's trying to take over the announcing duties for the whole damn county. Damn, busy guy.
Well, I can tell you what I'm not taking full control of is singing in the band, Branden. So that's the thing that that's kind of cool is when you have three guys from Marine City, and then Branden comes into play, and then Pat and Pete comes in, and and he's that one guy that didn't have that rivalry in between anything, but but he lives in Richmond right now.
Yeah.
So he knows what the BWAC's all about, and that league is really stepping up. Croslex is number one in the state in Division 4.
Are they really?
Yes,
That's
they
awesome.
are.
Good for
Their
them.
offensive line averages 280 pounds across.
Holy moly!
And they're averaging 34 points a game.
That'll win you some football games. Got a line like that in high school.
No, you think? I mean, now our my junior year, our offensive line was big, huge. I mean, we're talking 6'2" to 6'5" straight across the board, and all of them well over 235 or more pounds. But Jesus, I mean, can you imagine an offensive line today at 280 and they're athletic?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Christ.
In high school, you're going to find a lot more mismatches too. You get a line like that, and you're playing some school where that D line's just average or below average. Yeah, you can just halfback dive all day long.
Yeah, the game will be over soon because you have running clock.
Just backups will be in at the end of the first quarter, up 40-0.
Yeah.
Well, so, we had their coach on. He told us that they were going to look out for that team this year, because he was saying he felt really good about this year, and they're backing it up. They're backing his words up for sure, man. They're
right. I mean, we lost to Armada, and they beat them 34-12.
Yeah.
So, and 12 points is the most they've given up so far this year.
Jeez.
So and they just absolutely decimated Richmond. I think beat them like 54-7 or something. And they did the same thing to Swan Valley, who normally has a pretty good football program and is always vying for a chance to go to Ford Field. So it's going to be interesting to see in that case. Now, as far as Marine City is concerned, they have some things that need to be polished up or tweaked a little bit. they'll be fine. St. Clair's in a situation where they can't, they don't know what they want to be or how they're going to be. And I don't know, and they got some athletic kids on that team too, and big kids too. Marysville's one of those schools where, from year to year, you don't know. It wasn't like that before. It was like, yep, Marysville's the cream of the crop, and you know what they're going to do. But I mean, it's even, Brandon, and yeah, I'm sure this has never happened in your lifetime, but I mean, we have Algonac High School that doesn't have a football team this year.
I heard about that too. And
Yeah.
Algonac was real good when I was coming through, real good. And I saw that and it's like, damn.
Yeah,
it's just-
they got a JV team, but no varsity team. I think Emily City, I think might only have a JV team.
It's crazy.
I just heard recently that L'Anse Creuse North, who hasn't won a football game in almost a decade, has petitioned the state to join the 8-man football.
Yeah.
And they're bigger than both Port Huron Northern and Port Huron High.
Wow.
So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. But I'll tell you, the one secret kid that's out there right now is this running back from Cardinal Mooney. I wish I could remember what his name is, but first 2 games, he's already got 600 yards rushing.
602 games.
Yeah, and then so I went down and watched him with Kevin Mon, who's the new athletic director down in Cardinal Mooney, and he had well over 100 yards. They only won 8-0 against University of Liggett, but the kid's a special kid, and nobody's looking at him. And Brady Beaton said that if he played at Marine City would never have to throw the football because all they'd have to do is hand it off to Tetler and him, and that's all they would have to do. They would never have to throw the football.
Well, especially with that offense Marine City runs with the fakes and how precise they are and how they run that wing tee. You wouldn't even be able to see the kid has the ball and he'd be 50 yards downfield gone.
Yeah, it's crazy the stuff that going back from like when I played, and back when and then watching them progress and see the change, and how the program is developed. I coached at St. Clair from 1989 to 1995 with my dad, and the thing is always they always wanted to be try to be like Marine City, and it's just you just can't do that.
Yeah, you have your own identity.
I said you got to have your own identity, but you got to have the people buy into what you're doing. And everybody's like, well, St. Clair never had any good football teams. Well, if the 6-game rule to get into the playoffs were implemented back when my dad was coaching, they would have made the playoffs every year. Okay. So I think now what we're seeing is now they're going back to a small point, a different type of point system, because back when we were in high school, Brandon, they had they were more like, how many points you get, and you had to have a certain amount of points to get into the playoffs. And Walt Braun's best football team he ever had at Marysville, undefeated, beat everybody. I mean, rolled them, and didn't get into the playoffs. And they would have won the state championship. There was no team in the state that was better than them, but they didn't get to go because they didn't have enough playoff points.
When did they change that? Because I think my senior year, we made 6 and we got in, because I know that was when I was going through high school, it was still get to 6, get in.
Yeah.
So they've switched it since?
They went to a point system because it became so big, because so many teams were winning 6. I mean, it made the playoffs longer. So they had to tweak some things along the way, just not to the point where, okay, if you don't have enough playoff points and stuff like that, you're not going to get in. But I think the point system is way different compared to what it used to be back like in the 70s and the 80s. Because I mean, it would be a shame to have an undefeated football season. You don't get to go to the playoffs because you didn't have enough points.
That doesn't even make sense. Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
No, and that was crazy, because what you had to have is whoever you beat, you had to hope that they kept winning after you beat them, because you would get more playoff points. For
So is it kind of like similar to the BCS system, or kind of like that?
I don't know that.
Oh, interesting.
All I can just just thinking about it, you know, you bust your ass all summer long and you go undefeated and you can't get into the playoffs. Back in the day was kind of a scary situation, because like it's so depressing to know that you busted your ass that whole and did everything right and you don't get rewarded for it.
Yeah, it's like, what else do I have to do?
Yeah, it's like I mean, you have to sell your soul just to get into the playoffs. Now they tweaked it a little bit where it kind of where it made people play stronger teams. So like your schedule, like Marine City's got to play Duran, or they'll play they'll play Notre Dame Prep, or something like that. And if you beat them, obviously it's going to give you a bunch of playoff points. But the thing is if you don't play, thank you. Now that is a nice person that's brought me a chocolate shake. Chocolate malt. Thank you, Kendra.
Where's mine, Kendra?
Mike says, where's his? Dairy Queen, thank you.
It's at Dairy Queen. Okay, thanks, Kendra.
Yep. But oh, that tastes good. But the thing is
see, we was talking about ADD. This is what we're talking about.
See,
Branden.
squirrel. So sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, nowadays, back when they was just get 6 and get in, I think what they did is they were forcing people to start going out of conference a little bit and start playing a little bit more tougher teams. They're going to have to, just to make sure that they, that they assured themselves getting in.
Interesting.
So
all right. So
cool.
Enough about football.
Yeah.
You got some gigs coming up this week, right, Branden?
I do.
Where are you playing at?
So I have 2 on Friday. The first one's a business party, and the second one is at the same spot that you boys came to down in Mount Clemens there.
Nice.
And I have my girlfriend's family and all them are coming down, so it should be an interesting night down there. And that's from 8 to 11 at the Rec Bowl in Mount Clemens, and then Saturday I'm doing a wedding in St. Clair from 3 to 7. So I kind of seemed dumb. I went on Facebook and put that I'm going to take this nice break and I'm going to heal a little bit, and then boom, 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 here we go. So it's kind of look dumb for that. I might delete that post, but yeah, we're
that's like Kiss's farewell tour.
Yeah, man, that's it for the summer. Well, you said it's it for the summer. Now it's fall. Now you're into your fall schedule, so you're out of the woods.
He's kind of like the surfers from Breakpoint trying to find the endless summer, right?
Nice movie reference there, Freddy. So where's your favorite place to play in the area? Because you play all over the place.
Favorite place. Oh, that's tough. So what I know it stinks because Murphy's isn't doing entertainment right now, but I would say for a number of years Murphy's was up there, because as soon as my crowd turned 21, that's kind of the hangout spot. And it still is. It's just there's no live music anymore. So I like Murphy's there. The St. Clair Inn is still fun. It's just a beautiful spot. I mean, you take one look to your left and you're watching freighters go by and stuff. So I really like it there. AJ Salt Docks is another spot I enjoy, because that's where I get to kind of flip the script a little bit. It's a lot big country bar, so I kind of get to go all into the Chris Stapleton, the Luke Combs, and Morgan Wallen, and kind of flip the script and don't have to read the crowd that much.
Which you're phenomenal doing, Luke Combs.
I enjoy. Are you guys going to his Ford Field? I had a bunch of my buddies bugging me today. I guess it's sold out almost immediately.
Wow.
And I didn't get a chance to get
April 22nd.
I was like, oh, Ford Field. But any of those country, that's the new country. That took me a while to get into that. And I know you two have seen me cover a couple of those songs, but I enjoy that stuff too. Guys like Chris Stapleton, I've seen him live. I mean, doesn't say too much, not really like an entertainer, won't get up there and speak a whole bunch, but once that guy picks that guitar up and gets into that microphone, I mean,
that's how he speaks right there.
It's amazing. It's on for an hour and a half of just
I have totally pulled a 180 on country, and it's because of Chris Stapleton and because of Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, he used to hate country. He hated country.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, I mean, when you start hearing, Chris Stapleton, you hear Morgan Wallen, I mean, Eric Church,
Mhm.
you know, and, you know, and then you see some of those girls belting tunes out, and it's just like, it's kind of nice. It's a nice change. You know, I try to stay away from like, you know, I like Luke Bryan a little bit, but it's too, to me, it's too,
Bubble
popcorn,
gum.
I
bubble
get,
gum.
It's too
yeah,
bubble gum.
poppy,
Yeah.
poppy.
And,
Yeah.
and even Kenny Chesney's getting to the point where, you know, he's like, okay, every song sounds the same.
Mhm.
So
Right, he's like the newer version of Jimmy Buffett, really. Kenny Chesney. I mean,
Yeah. I like Old Dominion. They're
Mhm.
phenomenal in concert. Billy Curtin, another one who's really good too. But that's a nice thing that, you know, again, being eclectic and being able to get a little taste of something just to see, you know, where that's going to take you. You know, because I don't know if either one of you heard of Blackberry Smoke.
of course, yeah. I love Blackberry Smoke.
Talk about a band that's like under the radar for the last 20 years, but they just opened up for Jamie Johnson down at
The
Freedom Hill.
Michigan Lottery, whatever the fuck they call it now. It's Freedom
Freedom
Hill.
Hill.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. They just came out this year, like a couple months ago, maybe a month ago, covers of Stone songs. It's called Stoned.
Yep, saw it.
It's amazing. It's
Mhm.
really good. You gotta check it
They just-
out. You'd
they just
like
play it-
Blackberry Smoke, Brandon. I'm sure
Yeah,
of it.
no, there's no question about that.
I'll have to check them out then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, or somebody like Dirty Honey. I don't know if you've heard any of their stuff, Brandon.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, you listen to either one of those, and it's gonna be automatically you're gonna start loading them down onto your phone or into your music.
Blackberry Smoke will kind of remind you of Black Crows. I don't know if you're ever into the Black Crows, but
Yeah.
they're kind of like them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really good. So
I'll have to check both of them out then. That's
Right.
another cool thing that you can do with, like you said, being eclectic. You can also bounce different bands and different types of songs off of people, and people do that at my shows too. They'll come up to me and they won't necessarily say, I like this song, or can you play this? They'll just say, have you heard of this guy or this band? And if I haven't, they'll tell me a song. Hey, go check this one out. So that's another thing I enjoy is, like you said, music is always, it's bringing people together. There's no drama, there's no BS with it. It's just people sharing things like that with you. It's like you might get another couple songs in your set list off of some, tip some guy gives you in a bar.
yeah, the great thing about music is it's an endless supply. Like, the most recent music back to, you can go down a rabbit hole and you're never going to hear everything there is to hear, but you could spend your whole life trying to hear everything and it'll never happen. It's kind of like grains of sand on the beach, right? They seem like endless. So
Never ending. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool though. I mean, it's cool how people incorporate different styles into, you can hear like in some of the modern country, there's a lot of rock rock influence, and
Mhm.
a lot of souped up guitars and stuff like that, and that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. But I like some of the newer guys that do like classic country too, with the steel guitar, and like Chris Stapleton or Jamie Johnson,
Mhm.
these kind of guys. They're kind of old school country, but newer guys that that are
Yeah,
singing.
well, you're even seeing a lot of rock guys. They're starting to use a lot of the slide on
Yeah.
the guitar too. The slide tube that Ian Thornley is probably probably one of the best guitar players I've seen live. I mean, this man's got banana hands. I mean, it's like the guitar. He's like, when you start talking about Kevin Ottenbacher, like the guitar is a part of his body, and it's
Mhm.
just you're expecting everything to come out of it perfect, which it does. Same thing with this guy. He's 6'8".
Jesus.
I mean, he dwarfed me standing next to him at a meet and greet, but his hands were so. I mean, his hands made my hand disappear. But then he got on that guitar, and I mean, he's just up and down, up and down. And that's another one. Remember, we talked about that, Brandon, too. Is go to YouTube and watch Big Rex Sewer Factory show.
Yeah.
You'll be your jaw is going to hit the ground when you watch this guy play the guitar. It's just, and he's got a phenomenal voice on top of it. So,
Mhm.
but that's the beauty of getting people together that love music, because then you can start throwing different types of music at each other, and you end up listening, and then it kind of adds to your collection.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that's one of the things I just love about music is you can sit and talk about it all day long, or you can have a group of people, have one person run the music, and just do like a jukebox roulette type thing where you pick a subject, and everybody picks a song and plays it, and then next thing you know, you got sing-alongs. Hey, remember that when that song came out? Remember? It's cool stuff when you can do stuff like that. I mean, because I know it. I know you and the band that you were in. You got three guys that were really good, and I'm sure that they go off and they do their thing, and you're doing your thing. I'm sure you hang around with some guys that play some music, just away from, your own gigs and stuff like that, and you start bouncing stuff off of each other too. So
Yeah, and that's fun. I mean, I could do that for hours, and my dad can do it for hours. He'll still sing and do his thing. He still really loves it. My brother loves it. My girlfriend loves all that old stuff. So it's like you said, you can go on forever if you have a group of people that are into music and appreciate it, like both of you do as well. I mean, the conversation it can just go like this for hours.
hours.
Bouncing songs off each other, and I can do it. Get a couple beers, sit outside, play music. I mean, I'm a simple guy. I could do that for 3-4 hours.
You're a simple man.
Simple man.
Nice.
I had to play that one a couple weeks ago. That one was whew.
That's not easy to sing, that's for sure.
No, it's not.
Drop that baby down a couple keys.
Have you seen, speaking of Simple Man, have you seen the Shine Down version where they're playing, there's a YouTube video playing in some guy's basement, just the guitar player and the singer, they do Simple Man. It's amazing.
Oh, the Shine Down version?
Yeah.
His lead vocals, he destroys it.
Incredible.
Like, not doing that.
Saw them live with Kevin Mon and Brian Tatman, and the lights went out, and all of a sudden the lights came back up, and we were standing right here, and less than 10, 5-10 yards, they were standing there, and they started singing Simple Man, and there was a girl and he was singing to this young girl, singing, and she was crying.
Mhm.
And Kevin got all emotional and everything like that, because it was the coolest thing. Because
you didn't, Fred? You didn't get emotional?
No, I didn't. But I thought it was cool as hell.
Okay, well, I think probably how it went, Brandon, was that Fred was crying, and Fred and Kevin wasn't. But I'm just speculating.
Does that say Mike Ward? I thought that. Oh, it was Rob Streitz.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much just a fatter version of Rob. That's all.
Oof, and a beard.
Yeah, it's true. I do have one of those.
So Brandon, here we go. Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Yes or no? Will you be at the next practice?
I think like I said, I think I talked to Mike, and is it Friday you guys are trying to do it?
Not this Friday, but
we haven't set the next one because we got to figure that out. But yeah.
No, like I said, I promise I'm gonna show up. Like
he's just busting your balls.
Just busting your balls.
He doesn't need to practice. He plays 2 fucking shows in a day. I mean, he doesn't need to practice. Practice is for pussies, I mean, come on.
No, I will be there, and I'm looking forward to it. You guys know I am. It's been a while for me too. I mean, I know you guys have been, you guys have played in bands before, and you're getting back to it. But I'm in the same boat. I mean, when you go out and you lose that band, I've been there when it's just you and you F up a chord. There's nobody playing a G behind you that can cover it. There's no drummer. There's no backup vocals.
Right.
It's like I'm coming from the real stripped down side of things, and it's like I said, it'll be nice to have a band to play with a band. I mean, it's something you don't realize you miss until you do this for so long. It's like, shit, I've been out of this for 4 years.
It's funny you say that, because Mike and I was telling Mike in the car the other day, I said, that's going to sound, it sounds really good at what we did. I said, I can't wait to where Brandon comes in and fills that little section of that's missing out of there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that's gonna be good.
And the thing is that's where we talk about the circle talking about music and stuff like that. This is how this band I think is going to be too, Brandon, for us is everybody's going to be willing to sing. Everybody's going to be willing to back up.
Well, I think
Everybody's
it's let's be honest. I think it's Peter and Don don't have any interest in singing at all. So I think it's going to be the three of us. Let's
well,
just
well, you know what I mean, and that's
let's not put them on the spot to have
yeah,
to sing because they're not going to want to.
well,
Five-part harmony.
Yeah, if we're gonna play the
can
yeah,
you
if
do
we're
a
gonna play the
5-part harmony? That would be pretty cool. And I don't think it's ever been
Yeah.
done, but
but if we're
barbershop
gonna have to play the
quintet.
Eagles of death metal, I mean, we might have to let Pete sing that.
Yeah, have you heard that song, the Eagles of Death Metal, yet?
I have not heard. I saw you text that to me, and I'm going, huh?
Fred's
Yeah.
excited about it.
Yeah.
Who's singing that one, Fred? I might have to bow out of it.
It's Fred.
I've never heard it.
Fred
Oh,
singing
okay.
it.
Oh, my
He's never
God.
heard it before either.
Well,
That's
yeah,
the beauty of it.
I mean, come on. I mean, I listened to it and I'm like, he must have sent that as a joke.
No, I don't think he
And then
did.
and he did, and I'm like, okay. I think there's like out of the 10 songs we've been working on before you get there, Brandon, too, yep, I like the 9 out of the 10 that we've practiced, and then now it's just 9 because I think we all kind of bowed out on Pretty Woman.
Yeah, the
Roy
Van
Orbison?
Halen
Yeah.
version.
The Van Halen.
Oh, the
version.
Van Halen
We were doing
version,
a
okay.
Van Halen style. Roy Orbison that style would be better. I think it'd be more suited to the band. So
Yeah.
the problem with the Van Halen version is they tune down a half step. And it's hard for everybody it isn't hard for me. I have like a modeling guitar, so I can just flip a switch and I'm down a half step without having to retune. But everybody have to retune. It just doesn't sound the same if you play it in standard tuning, the Van Halen style. But if you play it, standard tuning, Roy Orbison, that would work. And I think we should do that because it's a great song for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like the Roy Orbison version better. And I like old school stuff, but
I do like the
so
See, that's a nice thing between Mike's time doing like Johnny Cash and doing Rolling Stones, and you and I doing like the Luke Combs and the Morgan Wallen stuff and Billy Joel and stuff like that. I mean, I'll tell you, I've really enjoyed the songs that we all collaborated and picked out, and then we threw an extra couple songs in there, which I absolutely love. "Cuts Like a Knife" by Brian Adams. So I love doing that song. So I can't wait till all of us get together and just kind of try to figure out, get some of the rust to fall off and start getting back into playing shape, so to speak, and just see where it goes. You know what I mean?
I'm excited. That's all you can do. The only way, the only time now is up. We're all shake the rust off, get back. Like I said, I need to relearn how to play with the rhythm section again and be looking over at Mike for the lead stuff. And it's different. I mean, I've been out of it for 3 or 4 years, but there are things that you're doing in a full band that I don't even think twice about right now.
Right.
On my own.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
Well, and that's the other thing. I mean, not only going to be singing, sharing the singing duties, but there might be some times where you do some lead stuff too.
Yeah,
it's
like
and
I
that's
said,
it might as well. I mean, and there's not probably going to be a time where you guys are going to say, "Listen, asshole, pick up a guitar and we're going to show you a couple things." I'm like, I'm going to be totally game for that. Especially when I got 3 of them sitting at my house and they're just collecting dust.
Yeah.
And the only time they get played is when Mike comes over.
We'll get you the guitar buddy. Have you seen that, Brandon? The thing that goes on the end where you press the
oh
button.
yeah, and it's got the buttons, the red and the green. Press red to play an A minor.
We'll get Fred to do the chord buddy. That'll be awesome.
That on his neck.
Yeah, he'll put it on he's got a Floyd Rose guitar. It's actually the brand is Floyd Rose, and it's got a Floyd Rose trim on it and stuff. We'll have him put the chord buddy on that bad boy.
G, D, and C.
Yeah, there you go.
You really know how to hurt somebody, Mike.
I know, I'm good at it, aren't I? I'm really good at it.
It's just I mean, digging my heart out with a spoon.
You're not gonna cry, are you?
I might. No, I'm not going to. No. So, Brandon, now, did you see the other songs that we added on with the 10 that we picked out?
I don't think I did. I think I was looking at the 10 and I made sure that I was well versed enough because, like I said, some of those you picked, I haven't necessarily put them in my set in a little bit. So I went over those and I made sure, okay, if when I step in with these guys, I'm ready to go. But no, fill me in on what else has been.
Yeah,
going on there.
I'll send them to you.
Yeah, we'll just send
Yeah,
it
We'll send them.
because again, I mean, if there's songs that you want to learn that are not in your list but
Yeah.
you think would be good with the band, send them to Mike and I, and we'll be, we'll start getting those. Matter of fact, if you grab a couple, it might be something we can do on Friday.
Okay.
But folks, just wanted to let you know that the three of us, and Don Gardner and Pete Pierce, are getting together, and we're going to see how things go, and we're going to have a little. We're going to create our own band here. So, and Brandon, what's the name of the band? Yeah, okay. That's exact. That is the reaction I was getting to do.
I think the name we decided on is Pavlov's Dawgs.
Yeah.
DAWGS.
I got the reaction. I'm like, oh Jesus.
We love putting people on the spot, Brandon.
Oh God,
So
that was. Thanks, Brandon, for doing exactly what I was hoping you'd do.
That wasn't rehearsed. That was perfect.
Unscripted on that one.
Yeah, that's hilarious. But hey, Brandon, we enjoyed having you on the show. We'll make sure that we definitely get that link to you so you can put it out on your fan page as well as Facebook. We'll put it on, obviously it'll be on YouTube, our YouTube station. I'll be doing a Facebook Live tomorrow, promoting it as well. Before we go, why don't you give us like 4 or 5 dates that you're playing? You said you're playing twice on Friday.
Yep. Twice on Friday and then Saturday. So just because a lot of those are private stuff, we can skip into next week. So St. Clair Inn. I'm doing that on Wednesday from 6 to 9, and then Thursday, I'm actually at the Newport Pub in Moraine City for my first gig there.
Nice.
So
right across the street from my house.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'm excited to get down there. Moraine City's been good to me, so I'm excited to be back. That's from 6 to 9, and then I'm at T's Roadhouse next Saturday. I think Tim Lolito's doing a fundraiser out there.
Lolito's Legacy.
Yeah, so it'll be for the Lolito Legacy. I'll be there from 4 to 9. Doing it since it's a little bit longer. I'll be, playing some music off my speakers, taking a little bit longer breaks. 5 hours is quite a bit, but you'll get some of my live stuff mixed in there. So those are the next 3 or 4 on the docket there.
All right. Well, hey, folks, you need to check this kid out, man. I tell you, he's talented. Mike and I enjoyed watching him play down in Mount Clemens. He's got a great set list. You'll enjoy watching play. If you haven't seen him already, give him a shout out, and you can find out where he's playing and go check him out, because it'll be worth your time. So, hey, Brandon, hey, thanks for being on the show again, like I said, and we'll be chatting with you soon, and can't wait till the following week when we have everybody together in the dog pound.
Absolutely.
The dog pound. He's
go.
named the practice space already.
The practice space is named.
Yeah,
Love
folks,
it.
go see Brandon play. You won't regret it. I'll probably see you up at the Newport Pub. Maybe I can drag Fred's ass down to Marine City.
You don't have to drag. I'll be there with bells on.
Oh God!
Sweet.
As long as you're wearing more than bells, that's
That's
acceptable. Otherwise, stay home.
Yeah, I've already donated my body to science fiction. Yeah, so.
All right, with that, thanks everyone for watching, and go see Brandon play.
All right. Peace, everybody.
Thank you guys again for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
no problem.